You hear gunfire overhead. It had been 6 months since you were sent to the war world of Armageddon. 6 months of nothing but blood and sweat. You had grown accustomed to it over the years. It's just another fight. Bolts hit near to your location. You rise and fire back. 3 years of meager service to the Emperor. Or at least it was supposed to be. You are struck by God knows what. It burns your skin, nearly charring your flesh under your common shirt. It was supposed to be easier than this, right? The horror, monstrosity of what you saw others go through. Yet the will to fight remained. Your arm was useless, but your other was still good. You prop your las gun up on the cover and begin firing with your other arm. Your parents had lived on some agro world far off in the distant galaxy. You once had dreamed of marrying Ari. You could still see the meadows and fields where you both used to play. Screams cried throughout the Guardsman. Some ran, others were torn apart by lesser demons, ripping them to shreds. An explosion rocks you, sending you crashing to the ground. They were proud of you when you enlisted. You could still see them waving you away as you left a part of the tithe. It took you a few moments to come to. The first thing you see is your missing leg. You are propped against some twisted metal. Glaze over your eyes as you gaze at your surroundings. The horde of lesser demons pass by you, like a stone through water. They ignore you. Only then do you notice a tall and enormous man, his armor shiny blue, with yellow golden edges and highlights. Staff in hand, he watches you. The Emperor, the reason we all fight, against the hordes of traitors, against the darkness of the consuming bugs, against the alien. Wrath and pain behind his eyes. Raising his staff, your surroundings dissolve in a flurry of nightmares, visions, agony. Your soul rips apart. Your beautiful memories of your family, Ari, thoughts of the Emperor, fade and are torn from your mind. You attempt to scream, but it is drowned by the claws of shadows consuming your soul. Thousands of times in a single battle, scenes like these play across the Warhammer universe. It's called grimdark for a reason. It is often considered one of, if not the darkest fantasy universes out there, without being overzealous or being too much. I've only been into Warhammer for about 4 years, around the time when they released Project Astartes. Project Astartes was my first intro into this world. Probably due to the death of Star Wars, but it was only recently that I really discovered its meaning. How impactful it actually is for the modern world and the world around us. But don't take my word for it. Take it from him.
Greetings. I am Malachi Esh, and, is this thing on?
Yeah, I think. Hold on, let me check.
Greetings. I am Malachi Esh, last of the loyalist warbearers. In our modern world, most everything is a front just to get you angry, obsessive, lazy, or confused. It's chaotic, and people feel drawn one way or another psychologically, this way or that way. It seems in modern life, we are not given peace, or meaning, or relaxation, or actual news. Every new story is meant to drown you in these four base emotions. Lies upon faking, upon gruesome death and insanity, even taking over the streets. Most new information dragging you down one of these trails.
We have to get away. To get away, you have to relax, you know? Maybe you play some video games. Just chill out. Don't watch the news, then it's too terrifying. And realistically, they're probably not telling you the truth anyways. Just relax. There you go. There's no point in trying anyways. You can't guarantee what would happen if you do. Where life would take you. You can't guarantee whether or not you'd succeed at any of your endeavors. There's another TV show to watch. It isn't that good, but it's better than the outside world at this point. Do you really expect to find any peace out there nowadays? You might get attacked by a political radical or a murderer. It's more comfortable here. Stay inside, you know, watch some TV, play some video games. In that world, it's better to just sit here. Just rest. Just relax. Doesn't matter anyways. Everyone dies.
Nurgle has no love for his followers. Any love or care he has is tainted by the abuse he has for those who give patronage. I mean, you wouldn't really call a serial killer very long, would you? No matter how many times he insisted he was, while killing people. As for Paulus claim, he's the chaos god of life and rebirth. But truthfully, he's the force of decay and disease. Every death day increases the availability of new resources for new life. However, but life really doesn't need help, assistance from Nurgle, or you, or I, or disease to function as intended. The Plague Lord is most empowered by our fear of others, the outside world, of everything, and of despair. Despair at our own mortality. Despair at what's going on in the world, not knowing what comes next. Nurgle manifests in our own world and our own lives through the fear and anxiety of our own existence, leading to the chill culture. The stuff that surrounds people that say, I'm just a chill guy or girl. I don't go out, I don't bother anybody, I don't do anything. I just stay home, waste away, smoke weed, chill. Although, given the stressors, I understand. It isn't easy. Now it is notable that his Death Guard cannot feel their own decay, a blessing from Nurgle. But this makes it worse. Think about it. Bloated and covered in boils, entrails spilling out of the front of you. Your arm constantly decaying as clay pieces of you fall off in bits and chunks. As vital organs desperately cling to your form and your shape. You slowly pass away of ever so edging death. You are not dead, but you are not alive. And what's worse, you cannot feel a thing. In one instance, when his connection through the warp to Nurgle was severed, one of the Death Guard looked at his decaying body, realized in horror what he had become, and begged for death. So too can't you feel your own self sink into the couch and slowly decay. But maybe you had hoped it was already too late. Maybe you do hope it was already too late. Maybe you're not bothered by the decay at all, or you simply refuse to acknowledge what you've become. Perhaps You are already like the Death Guard. And you don't want to look in the mirror. You don't want to see what you truly are, to sever the connection to the Plague Lord. You don't want to see what you've become, because you would be horrified by the result. You want to just stay inside, and on the couch. You want to just chill, and not become something greater. Stay inside, playing video games all day, eating tons of food, not going to work, not going to school, not in any sort of training, is no way to live. We should all strive in effort to do what we love, to enrich our lives and others around us. None of us should desire the fate of Nurgle's Death Guard.
Out we are then. Off the couch, out the door, into the real world. Into pain. Pain? Yes, to live is to feel pain. Life is painful and hurtful without the protection of Nurgle. This is where we lose some people. Some people will immediately retreat back inside. You know what I'm talking about, especially if you're one of them. Let it be known that I'm not saying that introverts or that introversion is the same as Nurgle. They are not the same thing. So, trying to relax from a hard day's work, you go out with some friends to a local mall. There are plenty of shops out here. Not exactly sure which one catches your eye, but eventually one of your friends drags you into the new dress section of one of the clothing stores. You all gawk and point, putting on dresses, desperately trying to see which one looks the cutest on you. You don't actually think you're gonna buy any of them, at least not at first, until one of your friends says you look absolutely perfect. And this one, and this one. Ultimately, you give in to peer pressure and you buy quite a few of them. It was fun. It was exciting. You walk out with a bunch of new dresses, excited to go out there. And you meet some cute guy. You know, at first you're like, don't take him seriously, whatever. You've seen 1,000 guys here, and some of them have already paid little to no attention to you at all. Some of them have paid way too much attention. They've all been slightly weird or creepy. But this guy, you guys just talk and talk and talk. Before you know it, you've been talking for hours. You have a couple drinks together, smoke a joint, and the conversation just flows so easy. He's really funny, and thank God he's not weird or strange. After quite a few drinks, you decide it's time to go. You're pretty tired. But you're not going alone. You take him with you, and, well,
No, thank you, though.
best nights of your life. Wake up the next morning and, well, he isn't there, but that was a great night. I mean, you're human. This is normal. Human beings like to have fun. It's never felt more relaxing in your life. But soon enough, you need to return to work, and the monotony of life returns. I get it. It's okay. You need another weekend. It's not that far away. Just 5 days. Finally, Friday. You put on another one of the new dresses and you rush out the door. No time to waste. You meet another guy, you have a little bit more fun, but he's just not like the first. Not quite. He's good, but
Stop! Seriously, stop.
Eventually, you go out again and again, and sometimes on the weekdays if you can sleep in. Each time, it gets less and less potent, less and less truly enjoyable, less and less a profound experience. You need it to even function at all. But that's normal too, isn't it? Like, you don't want to drown in your work. If you're lucky, it's something more legal, like perhaps anime, maybe a fandom. If you're unlucky, it'll be opiates. But at least you can finally relax. And that's what's important. Even if it's not much, or it's just a little, even if it's not completely, it just takes enough of the edge off. Makes life just a little bit easier to deal with. But hey, it's normal. Don't listen to them. People just criticizing the way you chose to relax or spend your time. You're not addicted or anything. It's not that strange. It's just nice that you can finally feel good.
Slanesh, the chaos god of excess, most commonly sexed, is a slow burn. Formed out of the warp from the excesses of 1,000 Eldar worlds, and pushing pleasure into pain. I wasn't lying. Pleasure and engagement are very normal and very human. But with how painful and lonely our modern lives are, many fall into this trap of addiction and obsession. Tempted with how miserable everything is nowadays, with how angry and upset people are, with how painful modern life is, with how scary modern life is, without this protection from Nurgle, to just forego any moderation, since it's meaningless. Life is meaningless, right? And to separate yourself from it is to engage with the day-to-day pain of life. And Slanesh is all the more powerful form. And the Imperium of excess does exist, but it's less pronounced than in the Eldar, a separate species from humanity. Many of the Dark Eldar behavior still fall into this category of pain and pleasure. Dying Eldar are still forced to endure pleasurable suffering in the afterlife. The Emperor's Children, Legion of Space Marines, have augmented their bodies to feel as much pain and pleasure as they can. Eyes perpetually dilated, engaging in sex or drugs. In real life, this hole is the easiest to fall into. Does relax you still, but less the less every time. It wasn't long till you were bare and addicted to the activity. And if you've been on any sort of circles, any sort of online circles, you'll meet some people who defend this type of lifestyle due to life being meaningless. Or, I just want to relax. This is normal. And while half of these activities are normal for people in moderation, the excess can drag you further into a degeneracy and dysfunction, a unclarity. Millions of people fall to this warp god.
If you manage to rise up and leave, you're with me again. Because if you're alive, you should keep trying. Life is still painful. And if you can put in the effort, despite the desire to not exist, despite waking up and not wanting to roll out of bed, not wanting to keep going, the deep ache on a day-to-day basis. And so, without Slanesh, you don't end up coping. You just end up dealing. A lovely lady named Sarah from work invites you into her group. They group together to protest the government sometimes, talk about medical care, and sometimes get together and play board games or party games. It's relaxing. Relaxing, finally. And really nice. Hopefully this one isn't a vice. Hopefully this one you can cling on to. You really need something that isn't an addiction. And hey, this one goes really well. It doesn't seem to be. There's nothing really to get addicted to. You're just spending quality time with people on the weekends and friends. Talking and sharing your positions, sharing your points of view. After a little while, they begin changing their viewpoints while they learn things. That's normal. People learn. It's how we learn slowly. It's how science works. At first, it's reasonable doubt around the flu vaccine. Of course, how would they on Earth know which strain is going to be the most prevalent next year? A friend of yours not accepting their American identity and wanting to be called Italian after their mom's heritage. Yeah, whatever. But as it keeps going, more and more things begin to change. It wasn't noticeable at first, but eventually you start thinking about just how often they do say things people might consider strange. A friend self-identifies as mentally ill without a diagnosis. One of your friends denies their sex, claiming to be from the other one. Another starts to ignore basic scientific facts, claiming my truth, and gets bogged down in these crazy conspiracy theories that they always bring up to you. But leaving is a terrible idea. I mean, you'll be alone again. That's a terrible plan. It's better that you just accept it. Besides, sometimes you make real change in the world. Actually help people. Actually move solutions forward. And eventually they start convincing you. That is, until one of them comes out and denies the existence of political leaders, claiming they're lizards, and another starts speaking in some complicated language about what existence is, what reality is, what identity is, and even when you try your hardest, you don't really know what he's saying. It leaves you confused. All of their words seem to recently. But that doesn't matter. They're your friends. And they're telling the truth anyways.
Tzeentch is the chaos god of reality. Change, mutation, knowledge, ambition, sorcery, lies, and trickery. He bends and twists ideas and thoughts into illusions and conjurings. He is heartless, having no appreciation of truth, nor even having a concept of it. He embodies Pilate's phrase, "What is truth?" only in condescension. He is considered one of the cruelest and the coldest in the Warhammer universe. He hides in our desire to be correct, ignoring facts and data, and our ability to perceive the world outside of our own opinions. It will drag you further and further into mental gymnastics and coaching for your life, making compromises where you really shouldn't. The internet feeds Tzeentch. Not everything out there is necessarily bad, but a lot of it falls directly under his power. Lies and disinformation find its origin in him. Rationalization also. Professors and intellectuals getting tied up in semantic battles or intellectualizing positions, rationalizing positions, rather than figuring out what the truth actually is. And those mean very well, but can easily be twisted by the Lord of Change. into doing his bidding. The Thousand Sons relate all too well to meeting the best, but ending up subjugated. They suffered from something called their flesh change. It mutates their bodies uncontrollably, destroying them in the process. Their Primarch, Magnus, made a last-ditch deal with the Changer of Ways in order to save his Thousand Sons. And save them he did, but at a cost. They're nothing more than empty shells of what they once were, and they're almost constantly in pain. Completely subjugated to him, without a will of their own. Completely controlled. Puppets of the Lord of Entropy. He's never been more powerful than right now, that we regularly lie to our friends, family, and spouses in the desire to be nice or win. The governments that belt out fake information to deceive, or political movements nowadays, finding their basis in such utterly ridiculous mental gymnastics and nonsense.
If you're wise, you'll leave after some time, unable to take the nonsense. You retreat a little. You still go out occasionally, by yourself, maybe to a bar, maybe to a park, just to get outside and get some fresh air, but just enough to see other people outside with their friends or their family or their relationships, but not enough to make your own. It sucks, of course, but, I mean, what are you gonna do about it? You deny yourself the vices, you keep going. Even more of the relationship, community garbage of constant lies that you hear from this group or that group, you avoid them as much as possible. Of course, you're gonna get lonely and inevitably you reach out again, but you still find the same nonsense. No matter who's saying it, no matter who's spewing it. What's wrong with people? How is it that others appear to have these friendships and relationships and you have nothing? They're probably faking it, of course. Or they're still lying to themselves, doing the mental gymnastics you did only a month ago. What do they have that you don't? Life continues, and your own lack of people is on full display. Some shame you for it, rather than help. More idiots and nonsense. How dare you not acquiesce to my own illusions? Some try to help you, or encourage you, but no amount of words about how fake it is can convince you. It's clear that some people out here are happy. Why do they deserve happiness? Why not me? If only they knew how I felt. Why can't they see my suffering? Or maybe they do and they just don't care. These evil people. They're all evil. The political fools everywhere, the families and communities who lied to me, the constant rejection after rejection. How dare they? I did nothing wrong. I am honorable and good. I deserve to be loved. A community. What if I don't? Am I not good enough? No. If I don't, they don't. At least I care about people. Look at these politicians. We all suffer down here and they do nothing. Or the ultra rich living life in these amazing mansions while I scrape by. These smiling lovebirds who mock me with their love. Or these evil, heartless communities that always end up stupid or don't love me or send me away. They deserve the pain I feel. They deserve it. And I'll make sure they learn.
Khorne is the chaos god of anger, blood, and rage. If you've made it this far, you know in real life how easy it is to slide into bitterness and eventually rage and wrath, blaming others or the world for your pain or woes, which easily becomes resentment. Riots in major cities, political groups burning things to the ground, disaffected young men and women getting physically or relationally violent. You felt the threat of walking the streets at night. Perhaps you've experienced being chased by a young man, not knowing his intentions, but they certainly aren't anything good. Or had a woman in anger sabotage your relationships with others without rhyme or apparent reason. Or a man going after you for daring to have a relationship in front of him. This is by far the oldest of the chaos entities, at least in our world. Even apes kill each other at war. It's called the Great Chimpanzee War. The world leaders pay tribute to Khorne through bloodlust and wrath, killing all in their path. They are driven by the perception they have been wronged by the Emperor, and willingly took butcher's nails into their skull. Then something enhances their wrath, rage, and abilities, although harms their mental capacity. With their Primarch Angron, and half of the world leaders rebelling. Notable that half of his world leaders attempted to stay loyal to the Emperor, due to their own hatred of their own Primarch. His presence made it worse, not just by our new worldwide awareness of violence, but our apathy and disregard for other people's suffering, as if their pain doesn't matter, lacking empathy of any sort. This one can truly destroy us all, robbing us of our lives, our jobs, our loved ones, civilization itself, and joy by resorting to violence rather than showing love and forgiveness towards even those we consider our enemies. It's been a relational thing for quite some time, and has only recently taken over enough people to cause mass uprisings, riots, and increasing levels of violence.
By this point, you are probably immensely tired, and I wouldn't blame you. This is the final stage of all of them. There really is no getting out of this last one. If you manage to seek and desire real relationships, you'll end up falling into this trap. This one is unavoidable because the pain and the pressures of modern life drive you to staying inside, decaying, medicating your pain away with pleasures, conjuring up illusions to escape the reality of the world, or into wrath and violence to take out your frustrations. But there is a way in Warhammer and real life to avoid these influences and plagues. A light and a being that guides you through the night. If you're a Warhammer fan, you already know of whom I speak.
The Emperor of mankind, defender of both mind and body of the citizens of the Imperium, without whom there would truly be no hope for humanity. guiding the Imperial ships through the world and saving the souls of his citizens after their deaths. Sitting atop the golden throne, flanked by his Adeptus Custodes, perfected beings who guard him and his domain day and night, like the Seraphim. His lower angels, those that are commonly called Space Marines, or more accurately Adeptus Astartes, who carry out his will, or the Sisters of Battle, who give their lives in loyal patronage to the Emperor of Mankind. Those who follow the Emperor will live outside of the influence of chaos. They will live good, prosperous lives, and will be defended, entering his embrace in the warp, which is both an afterlife and how you travel across the galaxy. But not all of them are pure. Not all of those who follow the Emperor are of pure spirit. Unfortunately, it seems even arbiters or minor forces of chaos have infiltrated the Imperium themselves. Unfortunately, there are those within the Imperium that do abuse the power so gifted by the Emperor. Individuals, in their zeal for the Emperor, becoming hyper-religious zealots who harm, maim, kill, destroy, and abuse the citizens of the Imperium, doing disservice to the Emperor, taking his name in vain, and destroying his image before his people. The Inquisitorial and Greymans, they drive others away into chaos due to the pain they cause within the warm embrace of the Emperor. His very sons, like the Khan or Lion, while certainly having other excuses, do not return partly due to the Inquisitorium's attitude. One only needs to note the story of Gilliman's own return and his own struggle with this vile structure. The wise among you have already realized what I am referring to. Yes, even with the Emperor saying that he is no god, that there isn't one. This is a lie. And he knew it was a lie.
For anyone who hasn't picked up on it yet, he is of course referring to God. A power that defends your mind from lies and deceit, calms your spirit when you are both anxious and alone, but also quenches your wrath, gives you joy away from the simple pleasures, and gives you a purpose and health, driving you into the world with real direction.
This is the only way to escape the wrath if you've made it to the very end.
And truly good worship provides healthy community, a stable relationship, and guards your mind from the chaos, even if it's all around you, giving you the ability to forgive and not compare your life to others. Compare your life to those who have things that you do not, or abate your constant want for the next item, the next goal, the next stuff, the next relationship. To focus on the things above, on the light above, in the service of others.
The light of the Emperor of Mankind.
Yet even some, in his light, abuse it for their own gain. They hurt others needlessly, defending nothing, doing essentially nothing, to the point where you begin to wonder, do they actually believe what they say they do? Or just motivational speakers, standard Southern Baptists who love not, or make fake statements like, "Thank you for sharing," or we're happy to have you, while sending people away who are truly desperate for love and connection because of a sin. No, they act like a club, not actually obeying what their religion says. Is it any wonder that Jesus says, "The harvest many, the hands few"? 'Tis a selfishness and a lack of reflection that poisons the faith in God.
And the God Emperor. To avoid these chaos entities in the modern world that desires your soul, wrath, lust, obsession, fear, and hopelessness, you have to stay close to the Emperor.
The light of God. To defend your own sanity. Give your service correctly, too, so that you give a good impression of God on others. Building healthy communities, not parasitic ones. And truly love each other. Not say you love one another. Not this performative, empty, pretentious behavior. Not tolerance either. Let me put it this way. I tolerate you. Does that sound very loving? Very kind? Do you feel welcomed? A part of something? Do you feel like I have your best interest at heart? Love. Even if you disagree, even if you get into an argument or a debate, even if that person hurts your feelings on occasion, even if that person tears you apart with what they say, that you can love them and forgive them. Don't fake it for the camera. And if your service is truly faithful to others, you may even be remembered for all time.
But whether it's a Psyker's mind, its suns in a distant galaxy, whether it's the Guardsman who charges headlong into the fray, the saints and miraculous figures who appear and do great wonders in his name, or guiding us through the Astronomicon, the Emperor protects.